So I'm not going to lie, guys. I woke up today feeling a little bit older because one of my favorite video game franchises of all time, Tekken, is turning 25 years old today. And greetings YouTube gamers, welcome to another episode of Retro Raider. My name is Johnny Retro and welcome to the channel. That's right, and I know that this is a cliche, but it almost feels that this was yesterday. But yeah, Tekken is turning 25 years old. I thought about making this video as a celebration, of course. The game was originally released in 1994 on the arcades, but what I'm going to cover are the series that I grew up playing on PlayStation. And by the way, if you're new on the channel, feel free to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss a thing. And yeah, let's do this. Let's take a closer look at 25 years of Tekken right after this. Number 1, this little dude right here, the original Tekken. This was released on the original PlayStation in 1995, 1 year after its original release on the arcades. And what can I say about Tekken 1? Without a doubt, this is probably the most iconic game in the entire series. And this was a turning point for me because, the first 3D fighting game that I played was Virtua Fighter on the Sega Saturn, but Tekken was the fighting game, the 3D fighting game that really caught me into this, modern 3D fighting genre at the time, of course. Because keep in mind, guys, at the time, I was more used at the classic Mortal Kombat games, the 2D Mortal Kombat games. But I loved the characters on the Tekken universe, I loved the stages, I loved the soundtrack, I loved the animations. And now, 25 years later, looking back at the original Tekken game, well, did this game aged? Well, it did age, and I would say that it didn't age very well, but I think that it has to do with the actual characters, character models. But like I said, guys, it's 25 years, and this game is without a doubt a cult classic, and it is very nostalgic. Still on the PS1, we're moving on to the iconic Tekken 2. So Tekken 2 grabbed everything that was good about Tekken 1, and improved a couple of things, and then it just pushed it up to 1000. And let me say this honestly, without a doubt, this was the game, this was the Tekken game that grabbed the entire fanbase. The new characters, the brand new animations, the iconic soundtrack, the detailed story and background of each character. And I think that this was one of the very first fighting games where you could really distinguish the fighting styles between characters. You had Judo, you had Kempo, you had Karate, and at the time, guys, these animations were super fluid. It was a brand new thing in fighting games, believe me. Now, when I think about Tekken 2, and I have to mention this, the most iconic thing about this game for me, and my favorite thing on the entire game, and I know that this might sound a little bit funny, but it's actually the opening cinematic. If I was going to make my top 10 opening cinematics of all time, the opening cinematic in Tekken 2 would be on that list, believe me. It's very classic, very nostalgic, is very 90s, and the opening soundtrack, the opening theme is just amazing. Now moving on, and if Tekken 2 was good, let me say that Tekken 3 was even better. What can I say about Tekken 3? I think that this is probably everybody's favorite, and with a good reason, because not only this is one of the best Tekken games, but I would say that it is one of the best fighting games of all time. And what this game brought to the Tekken series is that I think that this was the turning point in the series, in which changed it to what we still know today in the modern Tekken games. This game introduced a brand new generation of fighters. Some of the most iconic Tekken characters first appeared on this title. Jin Kazama was introduced here, and I know that it is a lot of you guys' favorites, but this is something that I still haven't mentioned. But here's the thing. For me, the reason why the Tekken series stand out compared to other fighting franchises is the background story. And usually story is not a big of a deal on a fighting franchise, especially at the time, at this time it really wasn't. But the Tekken universe and the whole conflict around the Mishima family is just second to none. And that is the reason why Tekken 3 is my personal favorite, because the story really opened up for the rest of the franchise. Most of the plots and the current conflicts came from this game right here. And another classic element that this game introduced was actually the minigames. We all love the minigames in Tekken, and it all started right here. However, this game has a downside for me, which is the fact that my favorite Tekken character is not in this game, which is of course Kazuya Mishima. You might like Heihachi, you might like Jin Kazama, but come on guys, Kazuya Mishima is the best. Now moving on to PlayStation 2, and this was a launch title on the system, and the first entry in the Tekken franchise on the PS2, and I'm talking about Tekken Tag. Now technically this game is not part of the main series, but I had to mention Tekken Tag because I love tag games, and this game is awesome. And it is a very important game on the franchise and a must play, especially if you like, the background story, because this game filled a couple of gaps from the previous game, and it is a Tekken tag team game. The graphics of course were improved, the minigames were there. Downside, well, you don't have ending cutscenes. What you have is, in-game cutscenes, if you will, with just music. I remember that back in the day that was a huge turnoff for me, because I always enjoyed the cutscenes in Tekken, and this was a brand new game on a brand new system, and yeah, I must admit that it was a little bit disappointing. But I'm being picky here, and the truth is that if you like Tekken, if you like fighting games with tag team elements, this is a great game. Now moving on to the first entry in the main series of Tekken. On the PS2, we move on to Tekken 4. What did we got in Tekken 4? Well, we got brand new characters, brand new gameplay elements, brand new stages, of course. The story continues, but this is my least favorite one. Yeah, I didn't enjoy Tekken 4. Honestly, I think this game was a little bit rushed. The brand new characters were not as appealing for me compared to the previous ones. The story, the endings, it didn't make that much sense, and they were only explained, of course, in the next game, Tekken 5. And if you grew up with Tekken like me, you are probably going to agree with me on this one, because we had Jin Kazama. Kazuya Mishima was back, but we didn't have, still to this day I never got that, why they didn't bring Devil Kazuya back, Kazuya's transformation, and why they didn't introduce the Devil Jin as a playable character on this game, because story-wise, it wouldn't make sense. Am I being picky again? Well, probably, but yeah, not a bad fighting game, but my least favorites in the Tekken series. But then we got Tekken 5. And Tekken 5 was phenomenal. This game is amazing. The brand new characters were awesome at the time. This game has some of the best stages in my opinion. The plot and the story was amazing. We were introduced to one of the most iconic villains in the entire franchise, which is of course Jinpachi Mishima, and probably the hardest end boss in the entire franchise. And finally, Devil Jin as a playable character. And the most important thing in this game was without a doubt the minigame Tekken Devil Within, which honestly this was almost a game of its own, because this was a beat 'em up game within Tekken, where you follow the story of Jin Kazama, of course, and that game is a must play because, again, if you like the Tekken story, this minigame fills a couple of gaps. This was the last Tekken game on the PS2, and what a better way to say goodbye, because, believe me guys, this is one of the best entries ever. Now moving on to the PlayStation 3, and this was a very anticipated game, and I'm talking about, of course, Tekken 6. Now looking back, was Tekken 6 perfect? Well, no, especially if we're talking about the gameplay or the brand new gameplay mechanics, but I think that Tekken 6 was a breath of fresh air in the franchise. Brand new, amazing graphics, the story kinda had this twist, this world war between the Mishima Zaibatsu and the G-Corp, Kazuya Mishima, Jin Kazama, father and son fighting, and an interesting plot twist because Jin Kazama was now the main villain. But not the end boss though, the end boss was Azazel, and yeah, that dude was crazy. And I remember that back in the day when this game was released, I think this game kinda divided the fans, but I do understand why, but it is a good game. It is a good game on the series. Now, this next one, this is not technically a game, but I have to mention this. Probably a lot of you guys never heard about this one, but this is Tekken Hybrid. And what was Tekken Hybrid all about? Well, this was kind of the pre-release almost, or the preparation for Tekken Tag 2, because with this one, what we have is a demo of the upcoming Tekken Tag 2, we had an HD remaster of the first Tekken Tag game, and we also had Tekken Blood Vengeance. And what this is it is a movie, a 3D animated movie about Tekken. Actually, this was a side story between Tekken 5 and Tekken 6, so I must say that it is not canon. And honestly guys, I don't know if this thing is rare or not, if it is collectible, I really don't know, but if you can grab one of these, please check it out. And yeah, next, well, this is not part of the main series, but we had Tekken Tag 2. And yeah, I got the collector's edition back in the day because, you know, I love this game. I wouldn't say that this game is better than the first Tekken Tag game, but I would say that it is as good as the first one. And the roster on this game, I mean, more than 50 playable characters. This was insane. This game was insane for me when it was released. And the best part of this game for me was the soundtrack. And I think that I can show it to you guys because the soundtrack was one of the reasons why I wanted to get this collector's edition, which is right here. The soundtrack was massive, and each and every one of these tracks were awesome. In here we had 49 original tracks, and then we had 12 remixes. If you guys like electronic dance music, if you guys like, you know, dubstep, techno, psytrance, this soundtrack right here has it all. And honestly, I'm hoping for a Tekken Tag 3 on the upcoming PS5. But the PS5 is not here still, so we have to talk about the last entry on the franchise for the PS4. And I'm talking about, of course, Tekken 7. And if you guys are wondering, this is the steel case or the steel cover from the pre-order of the game. And yeah, of course that I had to pre-order this one because it's Tekken. And this game right here, Tekken 7, I think that, like Tekken 6, I think this game was a breath of fresh air. And we the fans, we waited so long for this game to be released. And I think that the wait was worth it. I love the story mode on this game. I love the brand new characters. This game is filled with lore. I love the brand new mechanics. I love the soundtrack, of course. I love the brand new stages. And here is a funny thing, guys. I never was a very competitive guy, but I just love to compete in this game online. Without a doubt, Tekken 7 is the most competitive Tekken game of all time. And this was a kicker for me because I used to consider myself a good Tekken gamer, you know, a good Tekken player. But Tekken 7, I mean, there are some crazy, outstanding fighters out there. Still, I have to say that I win more than I lose, but sometimes I lose a lot. But overall, I have to say that it is all about the fun. And that's the reason why I love Tekken, because Tekken is just fun, and it's addictive. And this franchise right here, I mean, I still can't believe it that it is 25 years old. To sum it up, guys, I just want to say this. When it comes to fighting games, you know, each and every one of us, we all have our different favorites, and personal favorites, I mean. Some people like Mortal Kombat, some people like, you know, Street Fighter. For me, it has always been Tekken. And of course that I do enjoy other great fighting games out there. But this one has, without a doubt, a special place in my heart. Because, you know, the first one, I'm going to bring it out again, the first Tekken game, this game was huge, was amazing, was very important for my childhood. I used to spend entire afternoons playing this game with my friends from school. I used to play this game with my parents. And as you can see, it spawned this amazing franchise that it's still strong today in 2019, 25 years later. And about the future of Tekken, I see a bright future up ahead. I think that this franchise will live at least another 25 years. And I really, really hope to be there to see it. And I wish the same to you guys. This was a different video, I know, guys, but I had to make it because it's Tekken. So I'm going to end this video with happy birthday, Tekken. Let me know about you guys. Let me know down below if you are a Tekken fan. Let me know if you were there 25 years ago with the original release on the arcades or the PS1. And just for fun, let me know what is your favorite Tekken character, but keep in mind that Kazuya Mishima is the best. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and as always, don't forget to put a like in this video, please subscribe to the channel, and take care of yourself, take care of the gaming community, and game a lot.